Well, it's 9 a.m. I've had 4 hours of sleep, and I do have a face like a bag of bludgeoned lobsters. But I'm quite happy because the demolition crew just arrived. We've been doing demolition for days now, and quite frankly, I'd just like a day off and just go and do a bit of landscape photography. I mean, I did tell them that I'd help out, but I did all the wainscoting and the trim. You know, I think I deserve a day off for a bit of landscape photography. Hey, what do you think, love?
I'd rather work here.
No, I was thinking we could go and do a bit of waterfall photography, you know, and just tramp through a bug-infested forest somewhere, you know. Do you not fancy that?
I'd rather stay here.
So we're going then?
I'm not feeling it.
I think once we get on the trail, I think you'll be loving it, love.
Will there be bugs?
Well, a few. I mean, how bad can it get?
I think it could be terrible.
I don't think it'll be all that bad. Come on, let's get the camera bag and go. Come on.
I'll meet you out there.
When?
Just give me a couple hours.
See you in 45 minutes. I'll just let the guys know I'm taking a few hours off. Demolition was coming along very nicely. The guys had done a brilliant job stripping everything down to the studs. Right, guys, I'm just going to go off and do a bit of photography. I know I said I'd help, but I'll be back in a bit. So we've decided to take the day off and go chasing waterfalls. And we've spent the last 2 hours driving around the worst roads imaginable, and they're pretty bad in Nova Scotia, I'll tell you that, and destroying my vehicle. We just got lost and wasted all that time, but now after we quit, we've finally found the trail to this waterfall, so I really hope it's going to be worth the repair bill. I'm sure it will be, but it's a little bit of a bug fest, let's just say that, and I didn't bring my thermocell, so this could be terrible. Oh, that's the trail. We're making our own trail. We'll try and go around that wreckage. You're just not feeling it today, are you, love?
No, I'm tired today.
Oh, I'm not really in the mood for swallowing massive amounts of bugs. Oh well, we're here now. Do you know that feeling when you're driving along a remote dirt road and you're in a vehicle that's not really capable of the job, and you can hear things going wrong and scraping and clanging and banging, and you're thinking, what have I got myself into? Well, this is one of those days. So I really hope that this is going to be worth the effort. This is really pretty, and I think you can just hear a waterfall in the distance. Can you hear that? Oh, there's a fly on you. Let me get that off.
Don't start there. It's the first of many.
You're just not having it, are you, love?
Today's not a good day.
Would it be improved with a bottle of wine?
No.
Oh, what about a massive bag of chocolate?
That wouldn't hurt.
I'll see what I can do. So we decided to take a day off from Hardcastle Towers. If you haven't seen the new channel yet, there's a link in the description. We're renovating a 100-year-old church. Put it on your face. If we have asbestos. Oh, I think you might like it. And I think I've lost the trail.
Well, let's just go under.
Right. My knees of cheese were not yet ready for the limbo, but we did get up close and personal with some cute little forest critters. So you tell me, is that a frog or a toad? Post a comment. I think it's a toad.
I think you should kiss it.
Why?
So that I turn into a beautiful princess.
You turn into one?
Yeah.
So I kiss the toad and you turn into a beautiful princess?
Yeah.
You already are, love. After a gob full of flies, we finally arrived at the waterfall, and it was a sight to behold. But would it be worth the suffering to come? So we've reached the base of the falls, but I think we need to get further up, so we're going to double back and go up into the forest. But I love all of this rock. Look, all of this, it's kind of like a slate rock. I think Grumpton would approve. It's kind of like the sort of slate that we would put on roofs in England. I didn't know they had this stuff here, but it's really treacherous as a surface to hike on. But just look at all these shapes, these forms. Oh, the bugs are just driving me mental. If you stand still for a second, they're on you. So let's get back up.
Little did we know that we were about to jump from the proverbial frying pan, cover ourselves in jet fuel and head directly into the fire. Thankfully, some kind soul left a good rope for our descent into hell, and I let Amanda go first.
Just go slow.
No, I'm trying to get away from these bugs.
Just focus on the climbing, love.
I was not looking forward to shimmying my bulbousness down that rope with a fully loaded camera bag, loaded with meat pies. Well, it was paradise indeed, but paradise always comes at a cost.
Without doubt, this is the worst bug experience I have ever encountered. It is horrendous. And it's times like this when I like to use a copy of Chasing Awe with Gavin Hardcastle to smash the living shit out of these flies. One thing you can do is you can just open a page and then wait until your face is completely surrounded by flies, like this, and then close the book on the bastards. There's a link in the description. Oh God, I can't stand it! I can't stand it! Right, I'll just show you this shot. Okay, I'm going to try and squeeze one photography tip into this video if it kills me. Oh my God, this is just horrendous. And that is when the flies are this bad and you've forgotten your apparatus, and even with the wave of hatred, which I'm doing right now, it's just not enough. So what you're going to have to do is try and force a really long exposure. Now, I don't have an ND filter, but with the polarizer, oh God, and I just can't deal with it. The polarizer and stopping down to f22, that gives me a shutter speed of 3.2 seconds. And I'm hoping, I really won't know until I watch this back afterwards when I get home, but I'm hoping that 3.2 seconds is enough time to make any movement of these bastard flies just either a blur that I can get rid of or so blurred that you don't even notice it in the frame. Now, if you had an ND and you had something like a 15 or 20 second exposure, that would really deal with the movement of these flies. Because in this instance, I just don't think the wave of hatred is sufficient. And I hate them so badly. Oh God. This is horrendous. I can't even show you the back of the camera. I can't even talk you through the composition because I'm being eaten alive. It's my fault. I didn't prepare. I didn't bring any bug spray. I didn't bring any thermocell, any net. This is horrendous. So if the shot turns out any good, here's the shot.
It's been a while since I gave you guys a raw file comparison, so let's get this image back into the lab in Photoshop and I'll talk you through what I did. Because the last time I did this, I got some quite favourable feedback, and the general consensus was, we really like this as long as you don't do it too often. So it's been a couple of months since I did this. Let's put it into this video. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering where I am right now, well, Amanda and I have been very lucky to have a very generous neighbour offer this cabin for us to stay in while demolition happens at Hardcastle Towers. Hopefully you've seen the second episode, which is out now. link in description below. Anyway, on with this image. So what you're looking at here is the finished image. It's the same thing that you just saw being animated in the video. Now I'm going to show you the raw files that went into making this image. So here's the first one. This is the f22 3.2 second exposure that I talked about in the video there, and it did its job. It worked. There's no flies in my frame, so that forced long exposure completely got rid of the flies. Brilliant. However, I know that there'll be some diffraction trolls whinging right now that I used f22 because it's not the sharpest aperture. But if I zoom in and I show you the results, I think you'll be quite happy with how sharp that is. Now, could it be sharper? Of course it could be sharper. But if I only had one frame to shoot, and the most important thing was not having those flies ruin my shot, well then I'd be quite happy with that f22 shot. However, of course, I did shoot some much sharper exposures with f10 as my aperture, which I know is super sharp. And at 0.6 seconds, no flies. I couldn't see it at the time. I just couldn't even stand to play back my images and check them. I was being so harassed and eaten alive by those flies.
I just can't deal with it.
So I just shot what I shot, and that's what I ended up with. But at 0.6 seconds, no flies, nothing in my frame. So what I did with this particular frame is I focused on those beautiful spiky rocks that you can see in the foreground. So if I zoom in here, you should see a lot of detail and a lot of sharpness in those rocks. They're far sharper than the f22 shot. However, if I just go like this and pull it down here, look at the background. It's completely blurred out. So I knew that I would have to focus stack this image and shoot another frame. So then at the same aperture with no other changes set, I then changed the focus to the background for this frame. So again, I'll zoom in, look at that foreground, it's a bit blurred, but if you look at the background, look how beautiful and sharp and crispy that is. So I knew I would just do a 2-shot focus stack. So that's what I did in Photoshop. I just focus stacked those 2 images, put them together, and I got beautiful sharp front to back focus that you'll see here in the finished image. But I did one more thing. It was kind of a bit of a cheat, I will admit. This is photoshopped, and that is, if you look at this f22 exposure, I really liked that smooth water that you can see because of that much longer exposure. So I basically dragged that layer on top of this image and I masked in just the water area from that f22 shot. That's the only thing that remained from that blurry f22 shot. It doesn't matter that it's blurred and diffraction has softened it, because I just wanted that smooth, soft part of the image, and I really love how it turned out. I reckon I could have probably got a much better composition if I wasn't being eaten alive by those flies, but I'm going to go back again. I think I'll go back in autumn. Maybe the colours around the edges will be all yellow or red, and hopefully there'll be no bugs, and I can just refine my composition ever so slightly and get an absolutely killer shot. So thanks for watching. Please give it the old thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and tickle my bell, and I'll see you in the next one.